We need to get the entrepreneurial spirit back in Europe. That could supply the whole heat supply for Frankfurt in 2030. So it's really just good business.
Welcome to The Big Question, the series from Euronews addressing some of the biggest topics on the business agenda. I'm Hannah Brown, and today I'm joined by CEO and President of Danfoss, Kim Fausing. So thank you very much for joining us. We hear a lot about Europe's struggling competitiveness and the need for less but better regulation to improve the situation. But in your opinion, what else can European businesses do to become more competitive?
So what can we do in Europe? I think there's several things we need to do. We need to get the entrepreneurial spirit back in Europe. We need to get investments and believe in the future back. So we need to invest more. Changes cost money, and I would like to say that in a Danfoss perspective, one of the big opportunities I think we have when we talk competitiveness is really competitive decarbonization. We have it in our genes in Europe. We have the technologies here, and it can make a very big difference on competitiveness. And actually, just to sum it up, I think it is also the right perspective for decarbonization, because we would not like to decarbonize and become not competitive and not being able to compete out there.
So can you give me a little example of exactly what does competitive decarbonization look like?
What I'm talking about is really this mainstream decarbonization, and it starts with efficiency in our infrastructure. So first example could be sort of this basic energy efficiency story is that today, most electrical motors that are in all sorts of industrial applications are on-off. So it means either they run 100% or they are stopped 100%. That's very inefficient. If you combine it with a variable speed drive,
Yes.
Europe could save 10 billion euro just for that one single base application, and it's a huge saving, and it's all competitiveness in the end of the day. And for the sector coupling, where we use a lot of the excess heat being generated, so that would be take data centers. They are growing fast, and the big thing here is how do we use all that energy? And if we would just integrate that excess heat being produced by the data centers in the proximity of Frankfurt, that could supply the whole heat supply for Frankfurt in 2030, right? So it is very, very powerful, right? That's what we mean with competitive decarbonization.
For businesses that want to go down this path, what do they need to be thinking about to make this transition?
We are decarbonizing Danfoss as fast as we can, and it's going very well, by the way. We have very large sites that are already carbon neutral today. So what they need to think about is to find all the projects where you have very short payback time. So it's really just good business. So when we decarbonize our large manufacturing sites, for example, we don't do any projects that has a payback time with more than 3 years.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it means, de facto today, Danfoss is more profitable because we have been doing decarbonization projects, and we actually have around 200 projects continuously running in the company. Example, now we are sitting in the proximity of our big headquarters site, where we have 250,000 square meters on the roof. We have there reduced 70% of our heat consumption, and we are not less people or producing less there. We have saved around 50% of our electricity consumption, and of course that's a lot of money, and it's money we can use for investing in innovation or whatever we do with it, right?
Yeah, that's brilliant. And you said that you don't do anything that takes more than 3 years to pay back. That's quite a short return on investment.
It is.
So do you think for maybe smaller businesses, it is feasible? It is an investment that all businesses can make?
Yes, it is, and I think the challenge for smaller businesses is that, if you're a very small company, you do not have the same resources as Danfoss or somebody else, and therefore it's maybe hard to sometimes know exactly what you can do, but the examples are there in all sectors. There are great projects you can do. It's the same story, short payback time, it makes the company more competitive. I think we have to be better in the different countries to actually maybe support the smaller mid-sized companies with the systematic approach and the insights of how to, like we try to do here in Denmark, but it's definitely something everybody can do.
Okay, brilliant. And thinking about the technologies needed, does everything that's needed already exist, or what still needs to come?
I would say a vast majority of what we need is here.
Brilliant.
It's existing, we can do it. Especially if you talk about this base decarbonization or the competitive decarbonization, the short payback time, that is something we have already. We can do it now. We actually do it as we speak. So I would say all the technology is there. So I'm not concerned about the technology. I'm very concerned about the lack of consistent regulation, because right now we have a fast move on launching renewables. I also think back to COP28. It seems that we are almost trailing towards the tripling the renewables by 2030, but we are not picking up on energy efficiency, and that is needed if we want to hit our targets, right? So that's really the big thing, and it's also where we have the short payback times and so on. So I think my concern is that we do not have today an effective and longer-term regulation and attractive incentive schemes where if some of our small companies, they find the projects that they could maybe have a tax reduction or something that they could understand and apply immediately, right? That's what we need, and that's what we're arguing hard to get.
And so thinking about these targets, if kind of regulation and incentives get to the level that that you're suggesting, do you think we will achieve targets on time, or when do you think is a more feasible?
I think we could achieve targets on time. I think the power and the knowledge is there. I think what is unfortunate right now is we have landed this stop and go. So let me give you a few examples. EV market in Europe is right now in a distress or in trouble. Heat pump market is down 50% in Germany year over year. Actually, I just saw a survey that where they looked at 10 largest heat pump markets in Europe, and 9 out of 10 are not seeing any development in the heat pump side, whereby we know it's the most effective, at least one of the most effective technologies, right? We see it in large heat pumps and in industrial applications, because companies like Danfoss, we commit to science-based targets, and most large companies do that, and that's actually really growing fast, large industrial heat pumps. But if you go to the residential side, it's way down, right? The same for district heating, it's down. And therefore we need to get that back on track.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been really fascinating to talk to you
Thank you.
on the big question.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invite.